This is your Weather Xtreme video for Saturday, April the 15th. Normally tax day, but I know that's been pushed off till Monday. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Thanks for tuning in. Satellite image this morning shows that we have a good deal of clouds over the area. Most of those are mid and high clouds, so they will filter the sun a little bit, but still expecting highs to climb into the lower 80s. On the surface map, we have a high-pressure system over Georgia and South Carolina that is gradually moving off into the western Atlantic. And as that does, the southerly flow will increase over the southeastern U.S. and bring our moisture levels up. At the 500 millibar level, we have a large ridge over the eastern part of the country. There's a little bit of a disturbance over the southwest coast of Louisiana, but I don't think that's going to have much of an impact on our weather. Temperatures this morning starting out generally in the 50s. Birmingham a little bit of an anomaly at 64 at the time of this map. QPF-wise, we're looking at some rain on Monday and Tuesday. Looks like there's going to be a south to north gradient with the least amount of rain forecast for the southeast counties of Alabama, and the highest amounts of rain, probably around an inch or so, coming on Monday and Tuesday in the Tennessee River Valley. Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk for severe storms all the way from extreme Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle across parts of Kansas, northern Missouri, and eastern Iowa up to a little bit northwest of Chicago for day one. For day two, there's a marginal risk along that front with a slight risk in parts of western Oklahoma and west Texas. And then for day three, the front settles down into the area. No severe weather is forecast with only a small marginal risk over parts of western Nebraska and southwestern South Dakota. All right, the 060 GFS model run this morning. And as we get out into time, we have greater and greater differences, so we'll talk about that in just a second. There's the surface map, and the GFS suggesting we might see an isolated shower, but I think it's going to be so small the chances that we'll leave the forecast dry. The upper air pattern remains in a ridge, but on Sunday, but the ridge is being beaten down somewhat by the traveling weather systems along the Canadian border. In the meantime, at the surface on Sunday, we see a front that's being dragged from the eastern Great Lakes down into the middle Mississippi River Valley, and that will increase our chances on Monday. That strong system moving across the Great Lakes continues to move fairly quickly across there, and of course it's dragging a front, and the front more or less becomes parallel to the upper flow, which means it's not going to make much of a southern push, but it does look like it's going to push in close enough that probably central and north Alabama would have fairly reasonable chances for some rain. Do not expect any severe weather at this point on Monday. The ridge is still there. It's somewhat weaker on Tuesday, but once again, because the front is parallel to the upper flow, we don't see much change on Tuesday, and once again, it looks like showers are a fairly good bet. Once again, though, not all of us will get wet. Wednesday, the ridge begins to build back just a little bit as we see a fairly strong shortwave coming out of the central Rockies, and that system brings another front down into the Ohio River Valley on Wednesday. Because the ridge is there, it keeps that system off to the north on Thursday, so it's not quite getting to us. In the meantime, that strong shortwave is producing a good surface low in the vicinity of Chicago and southern Lake Michigan there. Friday, the systems begin to come in closer phasing. We've got this real strong one moving across the Great Lakes and another strong one coming out of the southern Rockies. So the GFS is suggesting that we'll see a surface low over South Texas with a surface low over the Great Lakes, and that front trailing from that Great Lakes low, kind of arcing through Pennsylvania and New York and then down across the southern Appalachians into Tennessee. That puts Friday in one of those days where it's probably not going to see much in the way of showers, but may have to introduce some into the forecast. The pattern shows signs of shifting fairly significantly on Saturday as we begin to develop a fairly substantial trough over the central part of the United States. And that then brings the front down into our area on Saturday, likewise on Sunday as we get out into voodoo country. But I want to note here that the European is quite different in its surface solution. The European has a surface low over eastern Oklahoma, and they're keeping us dry on Saturday. So quite a difference. And I'm not sure the GFS has the full picture yet, but I'm not sure about what the European has a better picture on it, a better handle on it, but it may be a little too slow in developing the rain area with the upper air pattern the GFS is suggesting. Looking out into voodoo country, we see that the pattern does finally shift from the ridge we've had for the last week and a half or so to a trough over the eastern part of the country around the 24th of April. We stay in that bit of a pattern through the 25th, so some cooler weather for us. And then around the 29th, we have a substantial ridge once again, but a very, very strong trough over the Four Corners area. So it doesn't look like, even though we've had a week of relatively calm weather, it doesn't look like there's going to be much rest in the weather office with this pattern. That'll do it for the Weather Xtreme video for this morning. I expect to have the next one posted first thing on Easter Sunday morning. In the meantime, stay tuned to the blog for notes on Alabama's weather. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great day. Enjoy the warmth. Godspeed.